have University of Louisville, and as we have been doing, please identify yourself and your affiliation with questions. And we'll start off with a opening statement from Coach.
Hello, thank you all for being here. I'm Dani, I'm the head coach, and we're just really excited to be in this position, and it was a goal of ours at the beginning of the season to make it to the Final Four, and to accomplish that at home and at Freedom Hall, and historic venue, was really, really special. So I'm really proud of this team and really excited for this weekend.
Okay, start with questions. Front right.
Tim Sullivan, Courier-Journal. Dani, yesterday, Josh Hurd said his number one priority was to lock you up long term, and I'm wondering if you have a reaction to that, and if there's a deal that can be made that would keep you in Louisville if John Cook ever retires.
Well, I love Louisville. My husband loves it here. We want to stay for a long time for sure. Certainly, we've talked about that with the administration and how we can make this, a win-win for our family and the University of Louisville.
Okay, middle left.
Chuck Kurtzai from Volleyball Magazine. Dani, what does it say about the development of volleyball in the ACC that you have two teams in the Final Four, you have another team like Georgia Tech that made a deep run? What does it say about the conference overall?
I think it says a ton, and we hear a lot about how the ACC is not as good, and we don't compete with the Big Ten, but I saw the ACC do some amazing things this tournament, and some players that couldn't be stopped by anybody, what conference they're in. So it's been a really fun year and really exciting for the future of the conference, just laying this foundation and setting a standard, and the turnover with players and coaches is just continuing to get stronger and stronger. So again, I'm really excited about the future of the ACC, and that just helps all of us too.
We'll go front left here.
Lee Feinswalk from volleyballmag.com. Tori, you're a student of the game. What do you make out of Wisconsin?
They're good. They're big. They're good. Obviously, everybody's good at this point, but I think they're probably the most balanced team we'll have played so far this year, which I think will be a great challenge, but I also know that we're incredibly balanced. So I think we match up great, and I think we play really well, and we'll be in a great position.
I'd like to get your perspective. You transferred early, got it out of your system, but the last 2 years and right now the transfer portal is just exploding. What do you make out of that?
It's definitely changing the game. I think the transfer portal is great for student athletes, overwhelming for coaches, I'm sure. But I do think that, especially with everybody getting an extra year of eligibility, there's a lot of grad transfers. So I think it's going to be a lot of more experienced players staying in college longer and making big impacts on those teams, whether they grad transfer or choose to use that extra year of eligibility where they're at. I know it's already made a big difference this year. We've seen that this whole entire year, especially in the tournament and stuff. So I think it's absolutely changing college volleyball. I hope for the better. It looks like it is right now. But yeah, it's exciting for sure.
Okay. Middle right.
Jacob Myers with the Columbus Dispatch. Dani, I know you've gotten this question a variation of times, but now that you're in the Final Four, have you given more thought to what being the first female coach to win this championship would kind of mean for you and this program?
Yes, I know a lot of my female peers have said, it'd be amazing to be the first female to win the national championship, but it would also be amazing to have a female win the national championship and to break that barrier. But at the end of the day, I also hate that it comes down to gender, and on Saturday, if we win, I want it to be because I'm the best coach this year, not because I'm a female. And but of course, I've thought about that and even said that to recruits, and that's a goal of mine. And it'd be amazing to do it at Louisville. And no women's sport has won a national championship at Louisville, so we have some history that could be made this weekend.
And to your point, you just got through a regional with 4 terrific coaches. Yes. What did that mean to you to kind of get through there, and I guess just to see this game that has been a men's game for a long time in the coaching ranks, to see how much talent there is in those teams?
It was great, and I've been saying too, this year a woman has a great chance to win it. I think there's going to be more and more. There's more and more women staying and coaching and making impacts, and the game's changing in that way. But it was really cool to just be there and feel the camaraderie. And when you get that far, you want to see your peers succeed. And I had a great hug with Michelle from Georgia Tech after the game, and it was pretty cool.
Questions for Anna. Teams don't get here without a really good culture. For the kind of upward trajectory that Louisville has been on the last 3 years to get to this point, what does it just say about the kind of culture and talent that Coach has built in this program?
I think that our staff does a fantastic job of building trust. And one of the things that when I first got here was a big shock to me was like roles meetings. Like we sit in the film room as a team and coaches go one by one and talk honestly and candidly about like what each player needs to work on. And so I think our team does a good job of holding each other accountable, but I think there's just a whole lot of trust with the staff to us, and then we know that they've got our backs.
Front right.
For both players, I wonder, Tori alluded to the size that Wisconsin has. How does that impact your strategy or approach, knowing that you've got a 6'8" superstar on the other side?
I don't think it changes too much. I think we've just got to respect her because she's just another really good player. We've played a lot of really good players, and, I mean, they do have a lot of size, but, I mean, I think we're a really good blocking team and just sticking to what we've trained all year long. I mean, we're not going to change much at this point, I don't think, so.
Tori?
Yeah, I don't have too much to add to that. I don't think we're going to change too much. I think we trust ourselves, we trust our defense, our block, and so we're going to treat her like a really good volleyball player and respect her, but respect their whole offense as well.
What about your offense? Does that influence how you set?
Not really. We're gonna come up with an offensive game plan and try to stick to it, but we'll make adjustments as we need to, and we're not gonna be scared of one or two big blockers. We know that they're big, but we also know that we have some really good arms and kids that can do some pretty special stuff. So.
I wonder if you could just elaborate on that concept of what you're up against and how that impacts what you do, if at all.
I don't think it impacts a ton what we do. We've talked all year about just staying true to ourselves and being authentic to our team. We're balanced, and we'll start feeding a hot hand, and we don't know who that is before the game because we've had different players take over in almost every match. So, we don't want to back down, and we want to bring the fight to them. And like Tori said, we're not going to be scared of one or two big players.
Okay, middle left.
This is for Anna and Tori. The milestones keep mounting for this program this year: conference championship, undefeated, Final Four, etc. Internally, how have you, as the players, handled that and kind of kept a level head about things?
I think we address it head on, and before practice, sometimes Dani will tell those things, and we've even written them out on like the whiteboard. I remember one time we burned the rankings of whatever it was. We didn't even know which one. There's so many rankings, but yeah, I mean, we just address it and don't let it just stay there in the back of our heads.
Yeah, address it head on and address how it can be a distraction. We talk about just good things as distractions and bad things as distractions, and I think we've handled them super well this year. It's a really mature team, not just in age, but everybody has a really high level of maturity, and the coaches have really helped with that, just addressing things head on, not letting anything be swept under the rug. When big things like that are firsts for a program or anything, it can definitely take away from the task at hand, and so I think everybody's done an incredible job, and everybody's personally taken a lot of responsibility and just handled it for themselves.
Okay, front left.
Dani, you have to win first, but do you know the answer to this? Because we've been trying to figure it out. Has anyone ever won as a player, as an assistant coach, and as a head coach?
I don't know, but I don't think so. I think there might have been somebody else that's won as a player and an assistant, maybe, but I doubt anybody's done it for all three. That's another first, I guess, so I'll just add it to the list.
You and I don't know who would.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Tori, what about this team this year has surprised you from the summer to now? What things have you looked at and go, wow, I wasn't expecting that, good or bad?
Honestly, not much has surprised me. I think the 32-0 is surprising. That's just so rare, but in the summer, I remember stepping in day one in the gym and having a conversation with Anna Stevenson about, we don't have a missing piece. We need to start talking about this national championship right now. Because if we don't talk about it, we're not going to dream big enough. We're not going to set goals big enough for ourselves. And so from that moment on, everybody started talking about it, and it kind of just slow rolled. And so nothing's really surprised me with the maturity, with how well we've done, with different people lighting it up on different nights. That's not surprising me because they all have the capability, and we're so well prepped in practice with everyone else we have on the team. I mean, I think that's one of our biggest strengths, is how competitive practice is and how much pressure we have in practice. And so I think I haven't been surprised by much other than the 32-0.
Surprised me.
We'll go back, right?
Dennis Punzel, Wisconsin State Journal. Dani, Claire Chaussee's career has kind of been ascending for a number of years. How would you describe her journey from the player you first saw to who she's become now?
I think she is one of the unique and really, I don't know, I would say a great story of our program. And, just to see her transform as a person and a player has been really, really cool and special. And she's the type of player, she comes in every day early, will stay after to get reps. She understands her role, which has been very different every single year, and she's had to come off the bench and win big matches. She started and got taken out. She's been a 6 rotation player, she's been a 3 rotation player, but you see her approach every day the same, and her attitude towards giving to our team and the selflessness has been consistent. And I think that's gotten her here, and it's given her a ton of confidence, and she's earned it. She has not been given her role at all, and I even admit that as a coach. Sometimes, like last year against San Diego, she came off the bench and hit 600, and I was like, God, Claire makes us look like idiots sometimes. So she's one of the funniest players on our team and a great teammate, so just really proud of her, and we would not be where we are without her emergence this season.
Front right.
Tori, I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit about the idea of needing to dream big. Does that emphasis about winning a national championship, does that offset Wisconsin being here for the 3rd straight year?
I don't know if it offsets it. I mean, I think that's incredible for them. That's obviously a great program, and I know they're striving for the same thing we are, and so I respect the heck out of them. I love watching them play. But I also think that just our team, we talk about workout, prep, out team, and I think the team aspect of that is what's carried us this far. And I think that started with dreaming big for this team, what this team can accomplish, and really believing it. I think 2 years ago when we were in the tournament and we were labeled the upset queens, and Dani's big thing was we needed to believe that we were going to win before, not in an arrogant way, but in you don't win, winners win before the match starts in their own head. And so I think that has been something that we've kept with us for the last couple of years, and I know it's been something that stuck with me, and you have to believe it before. And so dreaming big doesn't go take you all the way, but it's definitely been a huge part of why we're here. Before the Swedes, I think it was before the WKU match. After we had beat Samford, I think before we played WKU, I'm pretty sure that's when it was first coined by Dani.
Okay, front left.
Dani, did you recruit either of them in juniors coming out?
No, I was at Nebraska at the time as an assistant, so nope, I did not.
Did you recruit them for Nebraska?
No.
What were you thinking?
That's what I don't know.
Okay, any other questions?
Question.
Back left.
John Adias, Wisconsin Radio. This is for you, Tori. I was just wondering, I apologize if you've probably had to answer this in the past, but in what ways has your father helped prepare your volleyball career, your sporting career, your attitude toward preparation and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I was raised in a really competitive household. My sisters are great competitors, and my dad and mom obviously instilled that in us, which I think has been huge for me as a competitor. But I think the support he's given just throughout my career, and not always needing to be a coach or need to talk about or give advice from his past experiences. He's been a great dad through it all, and so I think that's been the most pivotal part of our relationship as going through all of this. He hasn't felt like he needs to be coach. He hasn't felt like he needs to always give advice. He's dad first, and that's what I love most about him. But obviously, I'm super grateful and just thankful to be raised in a household that is competitive and values sports and competition and just being the best version of yourself. And so I'm thankful. It's I can't thank him and my mom enough for instilling that in me and my sisters.
Lincoln Arneal, Omaha World Herald. For either of the players, you guys are wearing the Muhammad Ali inspired jerseys. Does that have any significance to y'all, or why you're wearing those uniforms?
The guy who makes our super cool videos, Muhammad was his dad, is his dad. And I mean, he made this video for us before we played at Nebraska, and it was all about how, I think he was about to fight George Foreman, and everyone thought he was going to lose because George Foreman had the big name, and Nebraska had the big name. They have it. And we're trying to build that for Louisville, and so I just think I kind of lost track of the question there. But yeah, I hope that answered it.
I mean, do the Muhammad Ali inspired jerseys have any significance to you?
Yeah,
So,
probably
yeah.
that. Good.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. I think we've taken on that persona a little bit. Assad, our videographer, kind of told us that we were the team that most reminded him of his dad, and just the way that we competed, believed in ourselves. And so I think that was super cool for all of us. I know we got emotional when that video played, and just hearing that was super special. Just knowing the competitor he was, the person he was, to be compared to him is pretty incredible. And so that's been a super big confidence builder for us.
Thanks. Dani, you've played at this level as a libero. How has the evolution of the libero position evolved over the last 10, 15, 20 years? And then, secondly, what separates a good libero from a great libero?
Well, it's really cool to see how much it's evolved, and I don't know if this is the first year, but there's a libero on each of the All-American teams, and that was not the case, for a long time. It's probably maybe only the second year, if not the first year. So, I think coaches are starting to understand that it's insanely important to have a great libero, and so for me, what makes a great libero is great volleyball IQ, and so our current libero was a setter, and her whole life. She just turned to libero this year, first year playing it, and I want somebody who knows the game and has been around the game and can understands ins and outs, but also have to have great touch. That goes without saying. So you want somebody that can ball handle and be great under pressure.
We're going to pause briefly and see if we have any questions from Zoom.
Thank you, Dan. There are no questions on Zoom right now, but if anybody does want to ask a question, please use the raise hand function and we will be sure to call on you.
Any other questions here in the room? Okay, thank you.